Hello, friends. It's Chapo.
One of the greatest travesties of all is to see a person in the White House who, even after years of political experience, has absolutely no clue how to be the President of the United States. And I hope he has recovered because, as you know, he fell off his bicycle today. No, I'm serious. I hope he's okay. Fell off a bicycle. I make this pledge to you today. I will never, ever ride a bicycle.
Well, you know what that sound means. The sound when it's me starting the episode.
The awkward silence.
No, it wasn't. I immediately started. I'm a professional. I've been doing this for, like 9 years now, since Emo Prod Radio as one of the first hosts. I'm a 9-year podcast veteran, sort of a 20-year internet veteran, though I'd prefer, not to go into my own personal history. The reason you're hearing my voice at the beginning is because, we have an absence. Will Menaker has fled to the European Union. He's trying to follow in the footsteps of some of his ancestors by defecting. He erroneously thought he could defect to Russia from France in the footsteps of his ancestors, and that turned out not to be true. He's defected to the EU, who have in turn defected him back to America. So he will be back this week.
He's in the same international, passport control limbo as Rod Dreher.
Oh, okay. All right. See, we don't need him. We have a segue already. There's a fire new Rod, okay? Everyone knows Rod Dreher has been in Hungary the past little while. He's been witnessing the last bastion of Christendom. He's been defending the West while taking livery cab rides with 27-year-olds who tell him about how scary Blue's Clues is. He's been fighting against Globo Homo by...
with brunches, mostly.
Yeah.
It seems like having oyster brunch is his main zone of combat against the decadents encroaching. I don't get it.
Well, Globo Homo hates it when you soy face in front of oysters.
They hate that. When you have bottomless mimosas with the boys.
Yeah. I love all of his dispatches from Hungary because it's it is all stuff like that, like just the normal, cosmopolitan stuff he does. But then it would also be he'll be like, oh, I was doing the thing that everyone in Hungary does where you give a bath to your friend in a big 12-foot bathtub, like the Three Stooges. And my friend told me that his niece is gay now. Isn't that scary? But all good things must come to an end. And we have a new entry from Rod detailing this end. This is called My Life is a Tom Hanks Movie.
This is a movie.
Yeah.
Tom Hanks.
Yeah. It's not Forrest Gump, where Forrest Gump accidentally has a gay experience with several historical figures throughout his life. It's Terminal. Okay. You know that 2004 Tom Hanks movie, The Terminal, about the guy who gets stranded in an airport and can't leave for years? Oh, because I'm an idiot, I'm getting to live that movie tonight. This is a little rare self-deprecation from Rod.
It just shows what, at the end of the day, just what a dandy little guy he is. Where does his mind go to? A fucking Tom Hanks movie. Just a light entertainment.
Well, I guess, yeah, it does kind of show him as a dandy, because if this happened to me, I would immediately be threatening to kill myself.
Yeah.
Let's see what happened. I flew to Vienna late tonight from London, but got hung up on the border crossing at the airport. Turns out that I overstayed my allotted period in the Schengen area of the European Union. All the time I spent in Hungary earlier this year counted against my credit.
Oh, no.
Yeah. Tough. I had this crazy idea that the clock started over after going back to the U.S. for a month. Nope. I thought that you could get more than 90 days in a particular country. Nope. It's the whole Schengen zone.
Boom. He's been Schengen zoned.
Gosh, I'm thick. Oh, Fortuna.
Oh, Fortuna.
He's such a fruitcake. He's fucking like it's like no matter how homophobic he is or anything, he is Martin Prince.
Yep. At the end of the day, his geode must be acknowledged.
Yeah, you just can't change who you are.
Nope. I still remember him making that bouillabaisse for his hillbilly family, and them like, we're going to Arby's.
Yeah. All of his family are like the supporting cast from Winter's Bone, and he's like, "Ooh, I've added a vanilla reduction to the profiteroles." The Australian Border Police were very nice, to be honest, but they couldn't let me in.
Everybody loves an Austrian cop, noted worldwide for their friendliness.
I mean, a lot's changed, probably.
Yeah, I'm sure they're much chiller now.
Yeah. I had to be escorted by armed guards to go fetch my bag at the baggage carousel. I'm leaving for London on the first flight out in the morning, and we'll be staying with friends while I appeal to the Austrian embassy for a residence visa so I can come back to the place I rented in Vienna and spend the rest of the summer. Matt and I were supposed to go next week to Mont Saint-Michel, Rocamondor, and other places, but I can't get back into Europe at all without a visa. Who's Matt?
Yeah, who is Matt? I just want to say, not me. It's not me. He's going on a tour of religious sites with Matt in the Austrian countryside, I guess.
Oh, maybe he's doing like a kind of racist call me by your name. Well, we don't know who Matt is. If you out there, if you know who Matt is, please contact us.
Yeah, please. We want to know about Matt. I would love to interview Matt, honestly. I know what the deal is with Rod.
If you're Matt Chrisman and you've been taking baths with Rod across the Schengen zone, whoever it is, okay. The police escorted me to an empty wing of here at the airport. It's desolate. Find a bench if you can, one of them kindly suggested. I'm not being sarcastic. The two young officers, Gregor and Butel, really did feel sorry for me. But rules are rules, and I'm in the wrong. But I do want to thank them for their kindness and hope their bosses reward them for treating a bumbling American traveler with courtesy and compassion. As it happens, the door to the airport chapel was open, and I thought, yep, I'm going to bed down where people pray to God. I shoved some benches together, and I'm about to sleep for 3 hours before I wake up and go meet the police to be escorted to my flight. What an adventure! I tell you what, they need to build walls to keep dumbasses like me out of Europe. I'll probably end up having to be in England all next week, so maybe I can get up to the Anglo-Saxon holy sites or something. I guess this is kind of like a boring Tintin book. It's kind of the vibe I'm getting here. A friend in Cambridge gave me a book called The Age of Bede after lunch, and I read the Venerable Bede's Life of St. Cuthbert on the flight back. Just take his Xanax.
Congratulations, buddy. He wants you to know he did his homework.
I read about Bede on my airplane. On the flight back, I closed my eyes and asked St. Cuthbert to pray to a friend who is suffering. Maybe this current travail of mine is St. Cuthbert's way to get me to come to Lindisfarne without delay. There's a lot of lore in here.
Yeah.
And I'm not just talking like religious lore, but there's like a lot of friends and people. There's Matt. There's his suffering friend.
Yeah. There's the old divorce subplot. And he refers to this stuff always, like very peripherally, and you just sort of have to know. And I think that's because most of the people who read Rod read him obsessively and through a parasocial lens, honestly.
Well, it does kind of seem like a soap opera, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Like there are a lot of storylines that get dropped and picked up, like the drag queens in the movie theater.
Yeah. And even as they were saying, all of his culture war pieces are always couched in some narrative of him hanging out in Budapest, going to garden parties with young grad students. Like that's part of every post, no matter what the ostensible subject is.
I always picture the garden parties like the Clay Shaw parties in JFK where everyone's painted gold for some reason. So okay, did he go on this journey right after getting divorced?
No, he announced his divorce in the middle of this. We've been joking about how he just was still married. Everybody thought he was married, and then he was just in Hungary by himself for months. And then in the middle of that, he was like, "Yeah, I'm not going to say anything." This is his perfect example of what we're talking about. He says, "I'm not going to get into the details. Okay, it's a tragedy and it's happening, and we're both very, very distraught. But this has been a torture that my wife and I have been in since 2013, and it's like, why you got to drop that specific date?" And now you got everybody asking, what the fuck happened in 2013? You didn't have to bring that up.
Well, it's kind of like world building, in fantasy
Exactly.
writing. Yeah, like fantasy writing when, like George R. R. Martin, when he's not writing like a rhapsodic description of meals.
Oh, baby.
He's like, he'll be like, oh, the carriage tilted like a Gorfinox monster. And a Gorfinox monster was never mentioned before, and now you're like, oh, what's the world of Gorfinox? This place in Northoros or wherever. It's the same thing with Rod, where it's like, oh, well, everyone knows what happened in 2013, and he never mentioned it.
Yeah, it's his summer hall.
yeah.
It's the cataclysm that destroys the family, and we can never know.
Yeah, I would like to know what it is, but
I'd love to know. He said one thing he said emphatically was it's not infidelity on either side. So you can take that as him at his word there. Like, what else could it be? Like, isn't that most of the real cataclysmic traumatic relationships in a marriage? Or was something revealed? Was there some like secret that was made known? That could happen, and then technically there's no infidelity. You know what I mean?
Well, I mean that's weird though, because it's like, okay, well, if they're not in love anymore, if you're Rod, isn't your thing like, well, like, who gives a shit if you're not in love anymore?
Absolutely.
Like,
no, that's the
preserve institutions.
That's the traditional view of marriage, is that it is not for your happiness. You don't get married to be happy. You get married as part of a vow to someone that transcends like your personal desires. It adheres you to higher goals. And in that case, like, I'm sorry, the fact that something happened, capital letters, in 2013, that doesn't cut it to, justify divorce under your own moral principles. So that's why that's why no one can ask anything other than, well, what the hell happened? Like, what is the actual scope of this? How are you able to carve out this exception if that's what you're doing, But he won't tell us. He just leaves us hanging by a thread, getting tantalized.
Well, okay. Do you remember when Jim McGreevy, it turned out he was gay? And,
And then it's like, oh, and by the way, I also got my Mossad boyfriend a job in the New Jersey government.
Yeah, that was the real thing I was kind of mad about.
Well, that's obviously why he came out, because he knew it was gonna drop, and he wanted protection. It was very smart.
Yeah,
but I, before they can impeach him and be like, "Hey, he has a gay lover in the Mossad in the government," he's able to go, I'm gay, first gay governor, put it to the rafters, first gay governor, called it.
He did say one of my favorite phrases in politics when he was like, "I'm a gay American."
Yeah,
that was a lot of our names in IRC that week after he said that. But
gay American.
But I do.
I was just saying, like, gay American.
Do you remember how after that he was like, yeah, but like, don't worry, me and my wife are going into counseling.
Yeah, right.
It's just like for what? Like, it seems like a pretty open and shut deal. I am in no way comparing this to Rod Dreher and his divorce or anything that happened. Okay. Anyway, back to Rod's Tintin adventure. Update. Good morning. Slept 3 hours. As I put my recharged laptop away to leave, I saw a sign in English on the far wall instructing visitors not to sleep in the chapel. I sure do have a way of bumbling right across other people's rules and regulations, don't I? Well, I'm glad I didn't see it, because I would have ended up sleeping in the hallway, off to Blighty.
He's the freaking Orthodox Mr. Bean, just causing shenanigans everywhere he goes.
Well, it's just like, I don't remember this level of self-deprecation in his writing before.
No. It was always very tortured. But I mean, I guess it's hard to really spin this, because this is a boneheaded move on his part. He just fucked up. Like, how do you not read the conditions of like a long-term stay in Europe? It seems like it's pretty basic. So he's got to kind of be like, yeah, I'm a dumbass.
Yeah, but at the same time, it's like, there wasn't anything else he could have written about that week. I'm sure there was like, a brunch, like a drag brunch or something he could have written about. I don't know. It's sort of like, do you remember when David Brooks, after he got divorced, he
oh yeah, the second mountain.
Yeah, he like wrote all those weird articles where he goes to Penn Station and he's like, just to think, everyone walking through here sucks and fucks each other, and it's beautiful. And I guess that's kind of what Rod's going through, but
yeah,
his is a sort of pathetic, annoying self-deprecation, the kind that makes everyone uncomfortable. Well, that's the Rod update.
Yeah, Rod's doing great, and we're going to see if he gets back into mainland Europe so that he can visit, like St. Stephen's Coccyx or whatever the fuck he's going to do as a pilgrimage.
Yeah, he's going to go all around the Baltic nations and see every saint that was killed by being encased in wax and, related to his divorce or whatever. At his new persona of like a bumbling world traveler, sort of a racist Carl Pilkington. Carl Pilkington, who's always seeing the trans menace lurking everywhere. We'll see. I would not say that's one of Rod's strongest works, but yeah, sometimes you got to phone it in, right? You got to give a little slice of life.
No, that's the thing is he doesn't have the heat. He just brings the schmaltz. He brings his personal relationship, which. The readers are there for that too, so it is a value for them. I mean, look at the comments. I looked at the comments of this piece. A lot of people being like, "Oh yeah, if you have to spend time in England, you need to go to Southwick upon Buckinghamshire, and there's a Merovingian temple that you need to visit. It's in a heath. It's like you gotta find you gotta basically directions to the Holy Grail is what they're giving them." And then other people are saying charming stuff like, it's fucked up that they did this to poor Rod, but they'll let all those African refugees in there, no problem. Actually saying that compared to refugees, Rod is being discriminated against.
I'm reading the comments now. It looks like Rod may have worse repliers than me.
Oh, yeah, they're pretty bad.
All right, we got Crispy from 5 days ago. I had to be escorted by armed guards. Sensible. I wouldn't trust you as far as I could throw you. It's a classic bad riff,
Yep.
Sort of attempted levity by being mean to the author.
Yeah, implying intimacy, yeah.
I hope when you get back to the States that your house hasn't collapsed, in parentheses, money pit. Since you're on the road and you'd be asked about Austrian writers, Road to Mecca by Muhammad Assad. I know it's the title that's unlikely to tickle your fancy, but the writing is good as Exupery's and Chatwin's. Now that you're on kind of a desert island, which 3 books, apart from the Bible, would you have with you? And Rod does not reply to this.
Oh, man. Brutal. Just reaching out, trying to have a convo. Ouch.
I don't think Rod ever replies to these people. Perhaps the Vatican finally found a refugee they would be comfortable deporting.
Ugh.
Wow. I guess these are all my repliers when they become conservative in 20 years.
Yeah, after they get bitter because you spurned them.
Yeah.
Many such cases.
If you and Matt are considering secular entertainments, I strongly suggest checking out the Festival of San Fermin in Pamplona, Spain, from July 5th to the 15th. The famous Running of the Bulls. It's the most insane thing I've ever seen in my life. Is Matt his son?
No. Yes, is he? Who is Matt? If it's his son, that's one thing. But he wouldn't you say like my son Matt, just to contextualize it? First time it's mentioned in an article.
Well, I mean, like, okay. I think we found a picture. No, there's some asshole named John Morgan. God damn it! Isn't there a fucking Rod Dreher Wikia?
Yeah, we need a wiki here.
Questions.
Honestly, given his commenters, there might be. And it'd be very useful. I need to know the lore here.
His commenters are fucking worthless. They're as shitty as mine.